Swans hold on to top spot with a comfortable win over Eastlake in Newcastle. The Swans wanted to assert their dominance after last week's loss to Brisbane, and they came out firing, setting up the win in the first half. The Swans held a 30-point lead after booting 6-7 to the Demons' 2-1 in the first quarter. They continued the efforts in the second, slotting another 5 goals with 2 behinds to give them a 55-point lead at half-time. The Sydney side eased off in the second half, with both the Demons and the Swans booting 4 goals each for the entire second half. Aaron Wiles and Samuel Mardling were the best in front of goals for Eastlake. They slotted 2 each, with Justin Mesman, Dean Ralston and Matthew O'Dwyer slotting 1 each. 9 goal kickers all up for the Swans. Tim Membry booted the most with 5 goals. Dean Towers helped out with 3, and another 7 players contributed majors. Eastlake dropped down to 5th place on the ladder and will be looking for some more victories as the finals draw closer. They take on Sydney Hills Eagles in round 17, while the Swans are up against UWS Giants, who also had a strong win this round. The final score in Newcastle, 7-7-49 to 15-19, 109. Aspley sealed a round 16 victory with a strong fourth quarter against Broadbeach at H&A Oval. The rest of the contest was closely fought, with Broadbeach struggling to finish after losing some key players to injury during the clash. Unfortunately, the Cats look like they've lost Matt Fife, Jake Greeley and Rory Walton until just before the end of the season. The Hornets were up by just 3 points at three-quarter time, but tore it up in the final stanza, booting 8 goals while keeping the Cats to just 2 behinds to end up with a 49-point win. Ben Wells booted the most for Broadbeach with 3 goals. Benjamin Hancock and Kieran Emery kicked 2 each. For Aspley, Matt Nickerson was the go-to man. He managed 5 goals. Brendan Forbes kicked 4, while Nathan Clark added 3. The final result, 10-8-68 to 17-15, 117. Ainsley notched up their 8th win of the season with a strong showing against Sydney Uni. The Tricolours held the lead at every break, but Sydney Uni weren't far off for most of the match with a close first half. Ainsley were up by just 3 points at the first quarter, with inaccurate kicking costing Uni a lead. They had 7 shots at goal, but just 2 were 6-pointers, while Ainsley made the most of their shots, kicking 3 goals and 2 behinds. Another 4 majors for Ainsley in the second quarter, with Sydney Uni kicking 3 to give the Tricolours a 10-point lead at the main break. Ainsley ramped it up in the second half, booting 9 goals while keeping Sydney Uni to just 4. Some bad news for Ainsley though, with Dale Walker injured in a marking contest with a possible arm or wrist injury. Josh Bennett was the game's top goal kicker. He booted 5 for Ainsley. Luke Jajura slotted 4, with Aaron Vandenberg and Simon Horner helping out with 2 each. For the Sydney side, Tim Barrett kicked the most with 3. Peter Dugmore and Thomas Elkington kicked 2 each. A solid win for Ainsley, 110 to Sydney Uni's 65. MtGravatt finally got a win on the board, taking down Labrador in a hard-fought contest. Labrador planned to take advantage of the height advantage in the forward line, but the Vultures counteracted with an extra man in defence, a move that paid off. The two sides were on par in the first quarter, both with 1 goal and 3 behinds. MtGravatt held a slim 1-goal lead at the main break. They stepped up a notch in the third and again in the fourth, with a 7-goal haul in the final quarter sealing the win. 4 goal kickers for Labrador. Michael Doyle and Trent Noble kicked 2 each, while Rick White and Ryan Davey kicked 1 apiece. The goal kicking was spread out for MtGravatt. Reece Estelle and Carl Goodman kicked 3 each, with 9 others registering majors, including the Vultures' best performer, Adam Eckerman. With more good performances, the Vultures could move off the bottom rung, and they'll take confidence from the 56-point win. Tuggeranong had been struggling this season, and the UWS Giants took full advantage, dominating the entire match at Star Track Oval. It seemed like goal-kicking practice for the Giants, who booted 28 goals in the 106-point win over the Hawks, with 15 players registering majors for UWS. It was a different story for the Hawks, who were kept goalless, struggling to get the ball out of their backline, and when it did go forward, it resulted in just 4 behinds. UWS held a 34-point lead at the first break, with the Hawks sitting on one behind for 3 quarters, and the Giants' lead kept getting bigger. Brett Thornton was the game's top goal kicker. He slotted 5, with Joseph Redfern booting 3. 6 players contributed 2 goals each, with another 7 kicking 1. The win moves the Giants into 4th on the ladder, trading places with Eastlake. The Giants will have a tougher task next week when they take on the Swans reserves, while Tuggeranong will be aiming for their 3rd win of the season when they take on Sydney Uni, who are 1 spot above them on the ladder. The final score at Star Track, 28-22, 190 to 0-4-4. The Brisbane Lions remain 1 game clear on top of the Northern Ladder after a 22-point win over the Gold Coast Suns, who remain in 4th spot. The Suns came out strong to hold a 14-point lead at the first break, but the Lions clawed their way back with a massive 10-goal haul in the second quarter, setting up the win. The Brisbane side held a handy 48-point lead at the main break. The third quarter went to the Suns. They booted 5 goals to Brisbane's 2. They also won the final quarter, but it wasn't enough. Jordan Lyle booted 5 of the Lions' 15 goals, with 5 also going to the Gold Coast's Jacob Gilby. The Lions take on Redland next round, with the Gold Coast heading to Aspley for their clash with the Hornets. The Lions have 12 wins for the season after taking down the Suns 15-17, 107 to 13-7, 85. Another win for Belconnen at Kippax sees the Magpies sitting just below the Swans at the top of the table because of percentage. The Magpies didn't look like losing at any point, kicking 22 goals for the game. The first quarter was Belconnen's quietest, with 4 goals and 6 behinds. Hills Eagles could have made a closer contest of it, but they booted just 1 goal with 5 single-pointers. By half-time, the Magpies held a 25-point lead. A 7-goal haul in the third quarter extended the lead out to 44, with the Magpies taking a 63-point win in the end. Matthew Loken bagged 6 goals for the winning side, with Christopher York also impressive with 5. For Hills Eagles, the top goal kickers were Stephen Doyle and Trent Stubbs. They booted 3 each, with Timothy Garlick kicking 2. The score at the final siren, 22-20, 152 to 12-17, 89. Southport came out determined to win and booted 6 goals in the first quarter while keeping the Panthers to 2. Morningside battled hard for the next 3 quarters with an evenly matched contest. Both sides kicked 4 goals in the second, 5 in the third and 3 in the last, with a slow start costing Morningside. AB were the Panthers' only players to boot more than 1 major. They kicked 2 each, with 10 other players contributing. While for the Sharks, Joshua Baxter slotted 6 with 5 to Edward Mallon. Southport hold on to second spot on the ladder, while Morningside missed the chance to move up into the top 5. The Panthers will be desperate for a win against the 5th-placed NT Thunder as the finals draw nearer, while the Sharks will make the most of the bye. The Sharks ended up with a 26-point win. The Sydney Swans remain on top of the Eastern Conference table, with Belconnen very close behind. Ainsley sit in third, with the UWS Giants and Eastlake finishing off the top 5. Queanbeyan are 6th, followed by Hills Eagles, then Sydney Uni, with Tuggeranong at the bottom. The Brisbane Lions are 1 game clear on top of the Northern Conference ladder. Southport sits 2nd, followed by Aspley. Then the Gold Coast with the NT Thunder in 5th place. Morningside are just outside the 5, followed by Redland, then Broadbeach. Labrador are 9th, with MtGravatt in 10th. For round 17, Sydney Uni host Tuggeranong, Eastlake take on Hills Eagles, Sydney Swans and UWS Giants will battle it out at the SCG, Queanbeyan take on Belconnen at Dairy Farmers, Aspley are up against the Gold Coast Suns, Brisbane Lions host Redland, NT Thunder head to Morningside to take on the Panthers, while Broadbeach are at home against Labrador. For more info, head to NEAFL.com.au, and to stay up to date with NEAFL fixtures, results and news, simply download the NEAFL app from the App Store.